Maybe you work with them. Maybe you live with them. Maybe you don't even know it. But one thing's for certain. Mutants are everywhere.
These lights represent every living person on the planet. The white lights are humans. These are the mutants. We're not as alone as you think.
Tonight on X-Posé, investigative reporter Josh Williams sheds new light on the continuing worldwide controversy in his exclusive report, Mutants Uncovered. Plus, mutants on the big screen. X-Posé cameras go behind the scenes to reveal mutant movie magic.
Next time you feel like showing off, don't.
Now from New York, Terry Anzer.
Since the discovery of their existence, mutants have been regarded with fear, suspicion, often hatred. But is all this worry based on evidence or ignorance? Tonight on X-Posé, we'll present both sides of the story, including some surprising statements from the very senator who just 3 short years ago authored the controversial Mutant Registration Act. But we begin with the question on everybody's mind. Who are these mutants? Our Josh Williams went in search of answers. Here now, Josh Williams.
Just a few miles along this isolated road lies the latest flashpoint in the mutant debate. It's a school for gifted children with special powers, mutated powers. So what is a mutant? Well, if you buy into the way they've been portrayed in television and comic books and movies, sometimes they're heroes. But more often, demons, creatures, monsters, and villains. And with a growing call to bring back the Registration Act, isn't it time we learned the real story?
This mutant problem is a little...
What mutant problem?
Complicated.
The primary theme is the one for the need for people to accept human creatures who are not exactly like them for who and what they are.
People are scared of the mutants. People don't know what the mutants can do. It's a frightened world. People are acting out of fear. This is just a misunderstanding.
Put the knives down!
I can't.
And the argument continues between Magneto and Xavier. What do you do as a member of a minority in society when society disapproves of you because simply of what you were born to be?
There is a very dramatic incident in Washington, D.C.
Perimeter breach at visitors checkpoint.
And this sparks a change in attitude in government and fear and enables William Stryker, the human villain of the story, to have certain liberties.
What do you need, William?
Just your authorization for special operations.
So we now have a sort of three-cornered conflict here. There's Magneto with his point of view here, Xavier with his, and then William Stryker representing the hostile, antagonistic human world.
He sees the mutants as a threat, and now is the time to act. You know, now we've got to stop them.
Nobody really knows how many even exist, or how to find them, except you.
William Stryker becomes my nemesis, and for the rest of the X-Men in this story.
Who are you? Don't you remember?
We try to do some unexpected things. Even with all the internet talk and all the predictions and all the things that people know and think they know, there'll still be some surprises, I guarantee.
Coming up, Josh Williams goes straight to the source for answers.
So, Bobby, what was it like growing up as a mutant?
It's totally ridiculous. I mean, how would you like to be labeled freak from the minute you were born?
Mutants, in their own words, when X-Posé returns. We now return to X-Posé, Mutants Uncovered. In New York, Terry Anzer.
So much of what we know about mutants is based on conjecture and hearsay. That's why Josh Williams went straight to the source, a mutant, for answers. Once again, Josh Williams.
So meet Bobby Drake, or as we've come to know him, Iceman.
Hey!
He claims to be a typical mutant. He claims to be no different than you and me.
It's totally ridiculous. I mean, how would you like to be labeled freak from the minute you were born? And what most people constantly forget in this battle to demonize anyone they consider different is that, I mean, evolution is nothing more than a history of mutation. We're all mutants. No matter how frightening that concept might be for some.
Well, I gotta tell you, sitting here talking to you, you seem like a great normal kid. So you mean to tell me that there's nowhere at all where you feel accepted? Not even at home? As I was about to find out for Bobby, the answer is especially not at home.
Well, you have to understand the mutant problem. It's very complicated.
When you hear that you're going to have a child, you have certain expectations. When you have a mutant,
We have to come to learn what this is all about and come to grips with it.
we're thinking of starting a support group. Parents, other mutants.
It's a beginning.
But for all outward appearances, Bobby looks like a normal kid.
But when it comes to mutants, appearances are very deceiving.
Until you have one, you can't possibly know what it's like. Or what they're capable of.
You know, some people write piano concertos by the age of 5, and they're considered prodigies. So why is it if your talent is stopping time or controlling the weather, you're all of a sudden someone to be feared? Or worse, round it up.
The fear is, mutants who we may know come in different shapes and sizes, may also come with different agendas.
In X2, we know the world, we know the characters, and so we can just have a hell of a lot more fun.
One of the most important storylines in the X-Men saga has been the story of Wolverine. His origins, his lack of memory. So he is in constant search for this past.
I need you to read my mind again.
Logan, sometimes the mind needs to discover things for itself.
The clues are starting to come together. By the end of the movie, he gets a pretty darn good idea about what his past is all about. No! Whether or not he gets retribution for it, you'll have to go and see the movie to see.
We felt that once we established the characters in the first one, that this time we could enhance the romance a little bit more. We have 2 romances going on. One is between Jean Grey, Cyclops, and Wolverine.
And the first one for the character was that she sort of had this love triangle situation that she was involved in. And in the second one, we're taking that a step further.
Girls flirt with a dangerous guy, Logan. You don't take him home. You married a good guy.
I could be the good guy.
Obviously, Jean is an attraction for Logan, which bothers me. But it's that age-old girls going for the bad guy kind of thing, which is exciting temporarily. But if you're talking long-term, it's like Scott's more of this guy.
I would never let anything happen to you.
Our other love story is with Rogue and the Iceman.
Rogue in this movie has a boyfriend, which is slightly complex given her inability to be able to touch anyone without killing them.
And then Mystique shows a bit of her seductive side.
She's a sexy character, and I think I tried to play that up a little bit more in this one.
No one's ever left a scar quite like you.
Do you want an apology?
You know what I want. But what do you want?
As if we didn't have enough to do with 8 or 9 characters, we're bringing more.
I play Nightcrawler, who is this blue mutant. Originally, he works in the Munich circus as an acrobat.
The character that I play is called Yuriko Oyama / Deathstrike. In the film, I get to do a lot of fighting. There's a great little scene there where she pins Cyclops against the wall and just sort of flips him over.
The X-Kids do get quite a featuring, particularly the character of Iceman.
The next time you feel like showing off, don't.
And Pyro.
Quite a talent you have there, Pyro.
You do get to see quite a few of the other X-Kids as well, for the fans, Siren, Nanati, Colossus, and a number of the others.
For me, choosing characters for an X-Men film is looking at their diversity and then how will they serve the story. And it enables us to see some cool stuff.
So what are we to believe? Are mutants basically harmless, or are they up to no good? If that is indeed the case, if there truly is some great secret mutant plot, just who's behind it all? Who, in essence, is controlling the action?
I think it's very important that Bryan Singer is going to be directing again. I think it's really important that all the original cast is going to be back too, that we're kind of serializing it that way.
Ultimately, I'm not a big fan of the phrase sequel. The X-Men universe in the film world is like the comic world. You tell a story and then the story evolves and progresses forward. And the word saga comes more to mind.
To me, I mean, I don't know what I would have done if they had said, there's going to be a different director doing X2. I mean, he's the person that made it, you know, what it became, which I think really is a movie that stands out completely from other comic book adaptations.
Bryan went from not knowing anything about the comic book to really just becoming its biggest champion.
Bryan established the first one. He brings to it the look, the intelligence, the approach in that he wanted to make this movie as realistic as possible.
Bryan Singer has such great vision, and he's such a perfectionist. I mean, he really knows what he wants.
He has an incredible eye. He is a master storyteller. This is my third film with Bryan Singer. So Bryan is a good friend. It's great to see him on and off the set. But what a responsibility, bringing all these elements together. I don't just mean the fabulous cast, but all the special effects, you know, constantly checking and rechecking the script.
Because if there's one thing Bryan isn't, it's complacent. I mean, he obsesses over every detail, every scene.
A film is not like a book or painting. A film is made by thousands of people. And I'm kind of a funnel through which all their talents pass. So in that sense, it could be called my vision, but it's really my vision of their visions.
Up next, a conversation with Senator Kelly.
Senator, why change now?
I've come to realize that the act is inhumane. Simple as that.
When Mutants Uncovered continues on X-Posé. If the only thing mutants truly desire is peaceful coexistence, then what on earth are they doing with a state-of-the-art military jet in a secret underground hangar? And why is Senator Kelly speaking out against the very act he authored to protect against just this sort of thing? Once again, our Josh Williams picks up the story.
It was just 3 years ago that much of the political debate in this country centered on the Mutant Registration Act, an act that ultimately went down to defeat when the very senator who authored it, Senator Kelly, reversed his position. Senator, why change now?
Well, I was misguided. I've come to realize that the act is inhumane. Simple as that.
But your critics loudly suggest your change of heart was merely politically motivated, perhaps with eyes on a higher office.
Oh, well, quite the opposite, actually. I think that politics should be removed from this equation. This is a human issue. I think we like to believe that we've come a long way in the last half century, that we're much too civilized to repeat the atrocities of the past. But this act, which was born out of nothing more than fear and ignorance, would have taken us right back to the darkest chapters of our history.
So you no longer view mutants as a threat to mankind?
No.
Now, what if I told you we've uncovered evidence, documents, even photographs of a secret mutant fighter jet hidden in an undisclosed underground hangar?
I would say you were exaggerating or overreacting, or perhaps both. Now, Mr. Williams, let me ask you, what would we find if we began poking around your home? Maybe a few batteries, some gasoline for the lawnmower, a little fertilizer, perhaps?
In all likelihood, yes.
So you admit to stockpiling bomb-making material in your own home. Now, what on earth for? Perhaps we should register you in some criminal database.
With all due respect, Senator, there is a huge difference between a bag of fertilizer and a state-of-the-art fighter jet. Now, aren't you the least bit curious how these mutants came upon a piece of advanced technological equipment such as this?
This facility is a school. Sure is.
The hell is that?
A jet.
What kind of jet?
We don't know. But it comes up out of the basketball court.
We're working on an X-Jet dogfight sequence where the X-Jet is chased. Storm creates a storm of tornadoes and creates essentially a gauntlet for the F-16s to chase the X-Jet through. I think we have probably more twisters in the first 2 or 3 cuts of this chase sequence than they had in the entire movie Twister.
I worked on how we were going to accomplish creating over 100 tornadoes for the dogfight sequence. Where we start is way back in animation. We get a file with a camera move along with tornadoes. These are the base for our system. So here, this doesn't look very much like a tornado, but after the rendering process, what we end up with is these nice volumetric, soft tornadoes that really feel like they have a lot of mass to them. And it was a particularly difficult shot. It has 9 tornadoes, and they're growing out of cloud decks. So this is the final composite of our image.
In actuality, every time the camera is looking back into the X-Jet, there was a green screen at the back. All we had was the cockpit section on a gimbal. So the entire rear end to the X-Jet is extended digitally.
Everybody okay back there?
No. Well, I think people can look forward to more of just about everything they liked before, and then in a whole additional group of effects that are bigger, broader, more exciting.
It really has raised the bar. The special effects are mind-blowing. The action is extraordinary.
The stunt work that I was doing is involving a lot of wires and harnesses. It feels amazing because it's like you very rarely, as an actor, get to actually really physically feel the things that you're supposedly responding to.
There's a moment where the kids are being trapped, and unbeknownst to them, Wolverine is up, let me tell you, quite high. So when I was doing that stunt, I turned up, and as always, I asked my double to do it first. I just wanted to make sure it's possible and he's not going to kill himself. He landed safe, and I thought, what the hell? So I get up there, and of course, it's one thing to look up and watch someone do it. By the time you get up to the top there, you're like, whoa.
Hugh, are you set, sir?
Set. So what could I do? I jump off. We made it.
Walked away from another one.
So what does it all mean? Josh Williams puts it in perspective when we return.
X-Posé, Mutants Uncovered continues. Here again, Josh Williams.
Well, the threat sure seems real enough, and if according to Senator Kelly's wishes, mutants aren't forced to register, well, what's to stop them from hiding among us and eventually blending in until they disappear?
In X2, we introduce Nightcrawler.
Even though he looks quite odd, he's blue, and he's got a tail, and he's got funny claws, and pointy ears, and pointy teeth, and yellow eyes. The worst thing about the makeup is getting up so early. My worst ever pickup time is 2:42 a.m. I'm never going to lose that call sheet. It's like 3 or 4 hours in makeup, depending how well I behave, and 10 hours when the day that I did my whole body. And then there's these tattoos that go on, first of all, that are sort of raised tattoos, which they have to transfer onto my face, and then they have to sort of syringe. It's like icing a birthday cake. The worse I behave, the longer it takes. So it's like this terrible, terrible conundrum.
This is his tail harness and his tail, and there's a spring steel inside these things, so it's all based on the premise of the gravity and movement. So rather than try and puppet it with strings and stuff like that, we let his own body movement manipulate the tail. And we have tails like this that have armature wires in them that we can just bend to whatever for like wrapping around a tree that he's hanging from. Hello. If you had to pick an actor to go through all this hell, Alan's a good guy to work with.
Nightcrawler has the ability to teleport. And when he moves from one place to another, he bamfs. The word bamf comes from the comic book. What I proposed was that when you first bamf, you would dematerialize into this smoke. We shoot the scene with him there, and we shoot the scene with him not being there. And then we take the two, and we combine them with a little bit of digital manipulation.
The effect itself is a very fast effect. As he's punching or kicking, you would see strands of smoke pulling off of him. So you can see here, there's a combination of black smoke with smoke that is colored to his body that he interacts with.
We're really happy with the Banff effect. I think it worked out really well, and to me, I love it because it's actually true to the physics of the event.
So what is the answer to our relationship with mutants? Are we to fear or revere them? Are we witnessing evolution or the dawn of a new revolution? And by forcing them into a corner where their only alternative is to strike back, are we in essence creating our own nightmare? Or is it still possible that somehow, some way, we can all get along?
That's our report for tonight. Join us next week for a special Tuesday edition of X-Posé, when our cameras are the first ever invited behind the secured gates of the Alkali military base. That's next week on X-Posé. Until then, thanks for joining us, and good night.
We're out. Thanks, everyone. Great job. We'll see you on Tuesday.
Thanks, guys. I'm out of here.